Thank you very much. Well, of course, welcome. We hope to see Florin Stanica in not too long, so it's down to me to do the duties for both of us at this moment in time. You have all arrived in Bucharest if you're here with us in the room, and you've seen what a beautiful city it is and what a beautiful venue that we have at our disposal. And welcome also to our participants online. We very much value having you here and able to join us for the day and hear what we've been doing. So it really is an absolute pleasure to have everybody here. We have had so many experiences together over the last, two, but certainly over the last year that we're going to share with you, that we absolutely look forward to sharing and also hearing feedback from you, because we're not only here to tell you what we've been doing, but also to hear any comments and advice and anything that you would like to say also about the direction of the project. So before we kind of get on to the main part of the day, I think Dinu would like to, well, do you want to introduce the next? Dinu will tell us a little bit about Romanian farming systems. Some of us will be able to see this for ourselves tomorrow, but in the meantime, everyone else will have to make do with some slides.
So, thank you, Siobhan. First of all, I would like to say that I'm really happy to host this year's EKIN here in Bucharest, and that we feel privileged to have you attending in person, and of course to our colleagues attending online. We have over 120 people which registered to attend online, so it's more than double compared to last year. So TDN network is growing and making an impact, so we're really happy about this. I won't have like very scientific presentation, just a few slides with a general outlook of our dairy farming system. Romania, it's an average sized country, so we have 14.7 million hectares of agricultural land, out of which roughly 1/3, 4.9 million hectares are pastures that are used mainly for cattle and small ruminants. Sheep and goats, we have plenty of those, as you will see later on. Our organic production represents 3.84% of the total utilized agricultural area, so less than half what of the EU average. And also, in the last 20 years, we ended up with a low livestock density, so one of the lowest, less than 0.8 livestock units per hectare, especially in southern Romania. A bit more livestock in Transylvania and Moldova. These figures that you see on this slide are for 2024 and 2014. So dairy species census, just to see the general trends. So in 2024 we had 1.8 million total bovines, down from 2.06 million in 2014, so a decrease in bovine number. Dairy cows, which are the main topic of our TDN, we have 1.05 million, down from in 2024, down from 1.18 million in 2014. Beef cows, however, the numbers have risen, and the EU Commission forecast says that beef numbers will increase in Eastern Europe, so Romania, Bulgaria, Hungary, and Poland, while decreasing in Central and Western Europe. So, yay for the beef industry. Water buffalo cows, we have 16,000 in 2024, down from 19,000 in 2014. Sheep numbers are increasing, so we have 10.4 million breeding ewes compared to 9.8 million breeding ewes in 2014. Romania ranks 7th in dairy cows numbers, second in sheep numbers after Spain. And then for goats, I think we rank third after obviously Greece and Spain. So we have 1.4 million goats. We are an outlier in many aspects. So Romania has a very low production level. We have an average of 3,773 kilograms of kilograms of milk per cow per year, compared to over 8,000 kilograms of milk per cow per year, the EU average for 2024. And of course, we have Denmark with over 10,000 kilograms of milk per cow per year. And then we have Estonia, which they have over 11,000. So Romania, it is an outlier. We mainly have small-scale, extensive grass-based production farms. However, even our sector is quite divergent. We also have large-scale, intensive indoor housing, year-round use of robots, over 11,000 kilograms of milk per cow per year. So we have quite a few farms, over 500 dairy cows, but also we have farms that have 5,000 dairy cows. But those are like very few and outliers again. Over 90% of our farms are extensive and have less than 10 bovines per farm. The last official figure, we had 541,000 agricultural holdings raising bovines, which takes us to an average of 3.34 heads of bovines per farm. So among the smallest, if not the smallest average in Europe. And water buffalo, again, we use them in extensive production systems. So our average milk yield is 1,198. These are the figures for 2024. So much lower than the Italian water buffalo. When it comes to the breed structure, this is dominated by dual-purpose breeds. So Romanian spotted, the Simmental type, Romanian brown. Romanian spotted is roughly 30%. And then, of course, we have the Romanian Holstein or the Holstein, 22.3%. And then beef. When it comes to beef, we have mainly Angus, Charolais, to a lesser extent the Limousin, and Belgian Blue, which are mainly used for crosses with dairy. So these are roughly 14% of the breed structure. And then we have the unregistered breeds that are not in herd books. And this usually tend to be assigned in statistics to the dual-purpose cattle. And the dual-purpose cattle, we tend to assign to the dairy cattle, if that makes sense. When it comes to milk and beef self-sufficiency, if the EU has an overproduction of milk of roughly 125% or 129%, depends on the source. Romania is an outlier again, and we only produce 84% of the milk that we're consuming. So we import milk mainly from neighboring Poland and Hungary. The consumption per capita of milk and dairy products are 255 liters, a bit higher than the EU average. And this is because Romanians tend to drink more fresh milk. So that's when it comes to the cheese consumed, we're roughly at the same page with the EU average, but we do consume more milk, fresh milk. And when it comes to beef consume, we have an average per capita of 3.1 kilograms. So it's much significantly lower than your average 9 kilograms of beef in the EU. And the official data says we're self-sufficient for beef, 87%. But this I would take with a grain of salt, because we're also exporting a lot of live animals, mainly to the Arab states and to some Central European countries. So this gets a bit confusing, at least to me. When it comes to CCC being practiced in Romania, as you can see in these pictures, CCC, it is being practiced, but in very, very small scale farms. So it's prevalent in the subsistence dairy farming. So the farmer has 1 or 2 cows, next to, of course, they might have jobs, and most likely they have jobs. They also work the land, and they keep 1 or 2 cows for consume, and also maybe they're selling some cheese to their neighbors. So this is the most prevalent. CCC is most prevalent in subsistence, small-scale dairy farming. Generally speaking, there is partial contact. So during milking, farmers tend to have 2 ways. Either they milk the cow, but not completely, leaving some milk in the other for calf to consume afterwards, or they milk 2/4 of the other, and then the other 2 are suckled by the calf. Also, foster cow, it is not that prevalent, but it is happening especially in the highlands, where milk processors it doesn't make sense economically to send transportation to collect the milk. So then the farmer would take 1 or 2 cows from the neighboring farmers and put them on a cow, and he or she sells the calves when they're fattened. Again, some very nice slides, I hope, with CCC happening in Romania. And as I said, this is prevalent to small-scale farming. CCC is significantly less common in larger herds. We were able to find this, and by larger herds, I mean 20, 30 cows. We were able to identify somewhere around 20 farms that are practicing some sort of CCC. So thank you for your time. These are my contacts and Madalina's contacts. Please, if you have any questions for us, any sort of problems we can help you out with, come to me and Madalina, or text us or email us, and we're here to make your stay in Bucharest as pleasant as possible. So thank you, everyone.
See our president yet? No. Okay. So we'll move on to Siobhan again, where we'll learn about where we're at and where we're going and transform dairy.
Yes, thank you very much. Wow, we've had an amazing year, and I hope a lot of what we've planned for you today is a kind of a taster of all the different activities that we've been doing. I'm going to play you a video which should tell you a little bit about what we've been doing.
TransformDairyNet, also named TDN, is a project funded by the European Union that promotes dairy systems where calves stay with cows longer rather than being separated shortly after birth, as is common in traditional farming. These systems, called cow-calf contact systems, or CCC systems, have the potential to enhance animal welfare, while TDN promotes resilience and sustainability in the Romanian dairy sector. Through a collaborative network, TDN brings together farmers, researchers, experts, and share practical knowledge on CCC across Europe, particularly through its dedicated events. The project involves 26 partners across Europe and has established 11 national hubs, each creating a roadmap to test and adapt innovations of CCC systems sustainable.
Oh, yes, a lovely video. Thank you very much to many of the farmers and people who've collected the footage for that video. So that's people from within the project partnership as well. I think it's a perfect example of what we try and do. We've taken people's expertise, whether that's farmers on the ground doing what we know they do best, which is rearing animals, and in our case, rearing animals in cow-calf contact systems, matching it up with researchers and also communication specialists to get the material and then package it together into a really kind of nice summarizing piece of information which our communications team are sort of adding to the great weight of materials that we are producing. So yeah, I think it's a lovely example of just an introduction to the project, and also a few different forms of cow-calf contact systems that we've seen. So just to remind you, the project is 3 years long, and we are 2 years into it now. So we're over halfway, and have been making good progress. We have these 3 specific objectives. So the whole focus of the project is about upscaling cow-calf contact across Europe mostly, but open to anywhere outside Europe as well. And so one of our main objectives was about really understanding what it is that farmers need to know and need kind of help in and support in trialing cow-calf contact, or maybe refining the systems that they have already. So we have some activities towards that. So we had this, well, we called it a farmer survey initially, but it went much bigger than this, and it went to farmers and farmers who do cow-calf contact, farmers who don't, or farmers who stopped, and you're going to hear some of those results a little bit later. But also dairy companies, which you'll hear about, and other people within that the supply chain and so on, veterinarians and advisors too. And we will shortly be asking consumers and citizens what their views on cow-calf contact. Then we've had a review of the literature. You will also hear a summary of that, some of those aspects today. And I think it's fair to say that the literature on this has kind of grown exponentially. So even just tracking the number of papers over the last few years, it's very evident to see that this topic is really gaining momentum, and potentially heading towards sort of tipping points in various parts of the journey to more general upscaling. Then we've got activities around legislation and regulation and standards and definitions. So that work is ongoing. I'm sure you can imagine at least that there are very many different ways that people are describing cow-calf contact at the moment across Europe. And so we hope to provide something of a kind of combination of an scientific evidence base and what we know farmers are doing practically into some sort of guidance on what we think might be a good use of a definition. There's still further work to be going on that. And then we have this whole element around boosting innovation in this topic. So we have our World Cafe this afternoon, where you'll be experiencing this firsthand, whether you're online or whether you're here with us. We'll be showcasing what's been happening in the living labs, but also asking for your feedback and input in how to kind of make them even better as well. And then alongside that, we have a model for trying to evaluate how sustainable, using the sort of traditional sustainability metrics for farming and agriculture. And you, again, will hear some more about how that is progressing and the work that is happening with that, because until now, there has been nothing that's been fit for purpose for these types of farming systems. And then finally, a really important kind of part of this is no point us doing all these activities if we don't then tell people about it and allow them to be able to use the information that we've found out. So we've had this whole host of different activities, from infographics to webinars, making these videos, farmer stories, farmer booklets. So we really hope that the outputs of the project will have a very long legacy and will be there to help farmers into the future. So I want to just focus for a second on what we call our NIPs, our National Innovation Practice Hubs, because they're really kind of central to the project, this network of farmers and others who are in each of these groups. And they yeah, they're bringing together all sorts of people and then having conversations and providing support and also providing this innovation basis as well. And what we've seen is that across our countries, we've got quite a range of different types of systems. So we've got some countries where there is really very little cow-calf contact happening. In some countries we haven't found any. In some it might just be a very few number of farms or you know, specific situations. And so for these countries, you know, be interesting. Well, I think you will find it interesting to see what they've done in their living labs later today, because they've kind of gone from zero to hero straight away in all of these cases. Then we've got other countries where, for example, cow-calf contact has been established for a little bit longer. And these are just an example is here in Norway and Sweden, where we have a joint National Innovation Practice Hub operating. And then we have this group kind of in the middle of Europe. So we have our NIPs in France, Germany, and Austria and Denmark. And here again, cow-calf contact is a bit more established, and we've got a variety of practices going on. So often in larger farms, they might well be foster systems, and maybe on smaller farms, they might be dam rearing systems. And then in the UK, there are at least 21 cow-calf contact farms, and again, a variety of practices are operating there as well. And in Romania, as you've seen from Dinu, we've got a few small scale farms and mostly tie stall or kind of much more subsistence level, small scale farms operating cow-calf contact. So in total, we have found more than 500 farmers, so operating cow-calf contact at some point through a variety of different, not just in our practice hubs, across other you know, mechanisms of finding through our surveys and so on as well. And what this really says to me is that now we have a lot of farmers with a lot of experience, and we're gonna hear from them today. We're going to showcase them because they are the people who are doing this. They are rushing ahead of the scientific well, the sort of capacity that the research community has for doing these things. And so kind of in parallel, we've got these really nice, you know, detailed experiments, but also this huge kind of practical experiment, if you like, going on. And we have a lot of information that we can gather from them. And that's really the basis of TransformDairyNet, to ask the farmers, how are you doing it? What works for you? What advice would you give to other farmers? And then we're delighted that we also have a collaborating group in Australia and New Zealand, and you will hear from our collaborating facilitator, Racheal, a little bit later on to tell you kind of what they've been up to and how cow-calf contact is in their systems, which in some ways are different to many of our European systems. So in 2027 and, well, the rest of this year and next year, there's still lots of things to look forward to. And so we really expect everything to be coming together. We will start to have the results from our pioneering living labs. We really want to start getting farmers kind of together, matching people up and really kind of expanding that experiential network, also outside of our existing farmer network that we have as well. We're going to have a kind of a great, well, and this is an enormous bank of materials by the end of the project. It's kind of really ramping up now because we've been gathering the information, and now there's just that kind of that next phase of putting it all together, going through a review process. You probably won't be surprised to hear that you know, we have the kind of a whole system in place to kind of try and sense check and also kind of double check everything that we're putting out, because we really want it to be accurate and important, useful. We will have the kind of full results of our surveys of all these different types of people. I mean, literally hundreds and hundreds from different sectors available. We will have our sustainability tool, and it will be available for people to use. And so when they haven't been able to look at the carbon footprint of their cow-calf contact farms previously, we will be able to do that. We will hopefully have our cow-calf contact definition. We will certainly be having discussions now. We're moving to the next phase of kind of looking outside the consortium to other stakeholders. Look out for farmer share fairs. We will certainly have one, and maybe more if we're lucky, next year. We're just looking at the locations and the timings to fit in with the farmers' kind of annual, natural calendar, as it were, for their practices. But we really, really want to bring farmers together, either farmers that are doing cow-calf contact or farmers who are potentially thinking about doing cow-calf contact, and start to really, show them some examples of how it could work and offer that opportunity. We had a really, many of us went to a very nice kind of similar meeting in the Netherlands with Eyes on Animals and Carverliefde earlier in this year, and it was I think it was very well attended and very well received. And then we will have a final one of these meetings in this time next year in Italy. We very much look forward to that, and then also to the future beyond TransformDairyNet. So we will be we definitely will be asking you a little bit for your help on kind of the general process of how to kind of upscale CCC, and also potentially more specifically around ideas of how to continue the network, or continue, if the network's not the most useful activity to upscale CCC, then what other activities should we focus on and look to do and look for funding. And we have a huge kind of collective set of ideas, both in the room here and also online. So we hope you can help us with any of this. Please do suggest potential funders or ideas during the day as you see fit. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Siobhan. And now we are going to move on to meeting our NIPs, UK, Ireland, and Greece. And so Rachel and Krista are going to guide us through both of these for about 5 minutes between each.
Hi everyone, my name is Racheal Bryant and I am the facilitator for the UK and Ireland NIP. So our NIP is a joint country NIP, so it covers the UK and Ireland. We currently have 16 pretty engaged farmers in that group, and we also are kind of regularly talking to some other farmers in a wider kind of network. It includes a range of current and curious farmers. Generally, the current farmers that we have are from the UK, and we have got now, thankfully, some curious farmers from Ireland. So we've sort of started to, pique their interest, I guess. What those farmers look like is a real range in terms of the size of their farms and how they're managing their cows. So some of the farmers are like less than 10 cows, and then we've got farmers that are have got over 100 cows. We're delighted to have 2 of our farmers attend the conference in the Netherlands in March. And upcoming events are, we have got a webinar coming up in June, and also a study visit where our farmers will visit a CCC farm. And just to give you a little taster of our living lab, so you will see some of the living labs after lunch, but just to give you a quick taster of them. We are looking at investigating the benefits to farmer well-being in CCC systems, and this all of the topics were chosen by the farmers in each group. And what this really topic is about is that we know that from talking to a lot of the farmers across the world, really, that there is, they all talk about feeling better whenever they're working in this kind of system, that they that it really helps their mental well-being. And what we aim to do is to document this and produce a digital output. And how we're actually doing that is that the farmers are actually interviewing each other, and then we're gathering the information. So it's very much a participatory approach. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Krista. I'm one of the two national network facilitators of Greece. And since last year, since the last EKIN, we have done some very fascinating activities. First of all, our open network, our NEEP, expanded from 14 NEEP members to 28. We had 3 NEEP meetings so far. 2 conferences, one master thesis that was presented in one of the conferences, 2 national press releases, 2 interviews that were done during the first EKIN, the one with Mr. Rokos, who is the dairy farmer in Greece. We met him last year, and Mr. Simakopoulos from the Greek Ministry, who is here with us today. And we had 1 farm video with team of Rosa from Revolve, and 3 interviews, one with me and Ms. Serva Sibu and Mr. Georgios Klambas. He's the farmer that our living lab is established in the farm, and he's also here with us today. We had the chance to organize the first EKIN. We had 2 open collaborations. One of these is the farm visit that we had in the ethical dairy as a representative of the Greek NEEP, and I had the chance with Charles to show me about the CCC system. And there was a written blog, of course, in the ethical dairy website. And we done a dissemination package that was delivered in our NEEP members in the 3rd NEEP. And a small idea about our living lab, it's a CCC system, a pilot CCC system under an automated milking system. Our knowledge gap is that we don't have practical knowledge and real farm experience on how a CCC system works in Greece. And there's also limited evidence about this system under a robot milking. So that's the idea of our living lab, and some activities involve behavioral assessment, health and welfare behavioral assessment, and continuous collection of data. And we prepared for you a glimpse of what our NEEP was doing so far. It's a small booklet, and the title is The Greek NEEP, a story still unfolding. It's all activities in here. And of course, as we say in the back of the booklet, it's to be continued. So we hope to fulfill this booklet like twice the size of this. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that taste of two of our NIPs. Now we're going to shift online, and Margit is going to guide us through the scientific review findings, differences between systems.
Thank you very much. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Good. Because I find it difficult to hear you, but so you have to shout if something goes wrong. But thank you for the opportunity to present the review of the scientific review findings here online. And in this scientific review, we've been focusing on differences between systems. Who are in charge of changing the slides? Because I don't think I can do that.
Margit, try yourself. I just tried to give you the permissions. Can you do it?
Good.
No.
You can control. Okay, I'll just see if
yes.
I can. Okay, yes. So did you do something or did I?
You are doing this now.
I'm doing it now. Sorry. Good. And this is just to say that this is a review that is conducted by the authors presented here on this slide. So this is a joint collaborative work. And where we started is that there is a lot of literature on cow-calf contact systems, as Siobhan just said. And there's specifically a lot of research on the benefits or the challenges of CCC for the calf compared to early separation. The benefits of cow-calf contact for the calf is improved social competences, improved learning ability, lower fearfulness, less abnormal behavior, and increased weight gains. So that we know. But when it comes to the comparison of different cow-calf contact systems, we found that we know much less. And also, when we talk about cow-calf contact systems, as you know, there are many different systems. There's a whole day contact with the dam, there's part-time contact with the dam, for instance, half-day contact or restricted suckling. There's foster cow systems, and there's mixed systems where the calves are first with the dam and then with the foster cow. In addition to that, there's also different types of physical contact. There could be fence line contact in relation to weaning. There could be use of nose flaps. There are really many cow-calf contact management systems that are very different. And in this review, we focus on comparing the effect of these different CCC management practices. And we've looked at animal behavior, including behavior and cognition, feeding behavior, learning abilities, response to novelty, and human interaction, because those things say something about the capacity of the calf to adapt to the system. We also looked at if there's any effect of abnormal oral behavior, health and physiology, maternal behavior, and social competence. Regarding performance, we've looked at the performance of the calf, the performance of the cow. We've looked for research on economic outcomes of different CCC management practices and systems, and we have examined how different CCC step systems are perceived by stakeholders. So that is sort of the topic of our systematic review. And when we go about doing a systematic review, we start out very broad in a search, and we started out with a search, including keywords related to the topics I just showed you, and we screened the title and abstracts of more than 2,000 studies. We then, based on that, selected 193 studies for full text assessment for eligibility, and we ended out with only 60 studies that we found fulfilled the criteria of comparison between systems and also quality of the studies themselves. And here you see how they spread out over different countries. Sorry, this is so the different management. I'm not entirely in control here. I'm sorry. So the different CCC management practices that we compared. Here you see how many management practices we found literature on. For instance, dam rearing versus foster cow rearing. Regarding animal welfare, we found 4. Regarding performance, we found 1. We found most research comparing whole day contact and part-time contact. Here we found 26 and 12 for animal welfare and performance respectively. Restricted suckling versus whole day or half day, we found 9 and 6 for animal welfare and performance respectively. And for full contact versus partial contact, for instance, fence line or nose flaps, and mostly related to weaning methods. Here we found 5 for animal welfare and 3 for performance. So this is just to give you an overview of how strong the comparisons are. And when we looked at the dam rearing versus foster cow rearing, there were, as you saw, there were very few studies, and the comparisons, and these comparisons were confounded with other management. For instance, there was comparisons of restricted suckling of dam for 3 weeks versus whole day foster cow contact for 12 weeks, and comparisons of restricted suckling of dam or foster. So, but that was only one study. So it's difficult to say something about how dam rearing and foster cow rearing really affects welfare and performance, because it was confounded with other management practices. Yeah. When we looked at the daily contact duration on the effect of animal welfare, we could conclude that part-time, and that is half-day or approximately half-day contact compared to whole-day contact, that reduced the duration of maternal care. So we saw less grooming and nursing when cows and calves were only together for half-day compared to whole-day. On the other hand, we also saw that the half-day contact could stimulate calves' solid intake and thus facilitate the weaning process. There was also some studies that looked at the strength of the maternal bond, and those studies found a similar strong maternal bond in both half-day and whole-day contact, and there was no effects detected on learning ability or response to humans and novelty. Numerically, there was a higher incidence of abnormal oral behavior in part-time contact, but that was not statistically. And also we saw an indication that whole-day cows are more in a more positive mood than part-time. So, and just to give you some examples of what was found regarding maternal care. So this is from a Danish study comparing half-day contact with whole-day contact. So as you see in this graph, the suckling of the dam was significantly lower. The duration of suckling the dam was significantly lower with half-day contact compared to whole-day contact. And also the time that the dam spent grooming the calf, as you see on the photo, was significantly lower with half-day contact. Here, and another slide from the same study, time spent eating solid food was higher in the part-time calves compared to the whole-day calves. But most comparisons that compared these two, they didn't find any differences in average daily gain of the calves over time. Studies also looked at the duration of daily contact on how that affected milk yield, and it did. So in part-time cows, the milk yield following the interval without calf contact was higher than that of cows with whole-day contact. This is an example from also the Danish study where you see that the full-time cows had a lower milk yield compared to the no-contact cows at both milkings, both in the afternoon and in the morning, whereas the part-time cows had a similar yield to the no-contact cows in the morning, but a similar yield to the full-time cows in the afternoon. And this is from a German study looking at also at yield, but also looking at both yield in the first state of lactation, the mid state of lactation, and the late state of lactation. And this study compared control, short-term, nighttime, and whole day, and the short time was restricted suckling. But if we just focus on whole day versus part-time, we see that in the initial state of lactation, both nighttime and whole day was lower compared to control, but that the nighttime, that is the half-day cows, they reached similar milk yields to control later in lactation, which was not the case for the whole-day cows. So if we can say something about the overall the effect of part-time versus a whole-day contact, then the whole-day contact clearly has some benefits in terms of animal welfare for the calves, and it also seems that it has benefits for the cows, but it comes with a cost of milk yield. Restricted suckling versus whole day or half time, there was very few studies on welfare and performance, and these comparisons were again confounded with whether it was a dam or a foster cow that was suckled. So it's very difficult to say anything about the effects of this. However, there was some indication that heifers previously reared with whole day contact showed more submissive behavior than those with restricted suckling, which may reflect more appropriate social behavior and social competence. But then we need further studies to say something firmly about that. About the restricted suckling, the short contact, which was often 2 to 3 times for 15 to 20 minutes, is usually practiced before or after milking. And it was also apparent from the studies looking at this that when the restricted suckling was after machine milking compared to before machine milking, there was a higher yield of the cow, but there was also a severely lower milk intake and weight gain of the calves, which can be critical, and which actually in one study resulted in the termination of that specific treatment. So there is a cause to raise a flag about restricted suckling if that is after machine milking, because that simply might result in critically little milk for the calves. About weaning methods. Weaning and separation stress was looked at here, and what was compared was what was found was that two-step weaning and separation reduced the vocal response to weaning and separation. And coming back to the part-time and whole-day contact, there was also in many of those studies an expectation that the part-time contact during the entire period where the cow and calf was together would make it easier to separate the two eventually. However, that was not the case, and that might come back to what I mentioned earlier, that there was a similar strong maternal bond formed in half-day and whole-day systems. So reducing the time that the cow and calf spend together during the milk feeding period to part-time does not make it easier to separate the two. Also, there was no effect of gradually reducing the daily contact duration prior to the final separation, which is probably because the calves managed to drink at the age of weaning at 3 months. The calves are managing to drink a lot of milk in the short duration that they were with the cow before final separation in these studies. And also the maternal bond was not weakened. So in the studies that we kept for in this review, the only really effective method to reduce weaning and separation stress was a two-step weaning process, which worked in the way that in this example that I'm showing you here, that the calves were put to a fence line contact with no nursing possible in week 9. These calves were simply confined in a calf creep so that they had physical contact to the dam, but they could not suckle the dam. And then they were completely separated at 10 weeks. And this was compared to an abrupt weaning and separation where calves were completely separated at 10 weeks without any prior fence line weaning. So in the two-step, calves first lost the milk and then they lost the cow. In the abrupt, calves lost the milk and the cow at the same time. And when looking at how that affected the duration of vocalizations, combined both at the first step and the second step, then we see that the vocal response to weaning and separation was stronger in the abruptly weaned calves compared to the two-step weaned calves. Yes, so and that may very likely be because the simply because the two stressors are separated in two rather than all at one time, and also that the calves may, when they lose the milk, I mean, but still have the social support of the cow, they are more likely to increase their solid intake before the final separation. So it's a more gradual process. Yes, about economic outcomes, here we did not find any economic comparison between CCC systems. And we found studies that looked at the economics, but that was comparing CCC with conventional or other systems. So, I mean, this is simply a huge knowledge gap. There was no studies that we could retain for the review comparing economic outcomes. However, we also looked at stakeholder views, and here we based on the literature on stakeholder views, which included both sort of like surveys of non-farming citizens and surveys of farmers. So there were surveys or interviews. There we found that the non-farming citizens, the consumers, and usual citizens, they very much oppose early separation of cow and calf, and they very much prefer dam rearing over foster cow rearing. And that is from the perspective of that it's wrong to take the baby away from the mother, and from the perspective that the foster cow rearing might benefit the calf, but it does not benefit the cow. Also, the research on the views of non-farming citizens show a willingness to pay for CCC products, which I also think is worth noticing, that there's actually a willingness among the citizens to pay a higher price for keeping cow and calf together. And here I think it's worth noticing that the preference for the dam rearing over the foster cow rearing in sort of like advertising cow-calf contact products. I think it's because there's this preference for the dam rearing over foster cow rearing. It may be important to distinguish in the CCC products whether they are from dams or foster cow systems. When it comes to the farmers, they saw practical challenges, yes, and they saw specifically challenges with weaning and separation stress. This is anybody who has experienced separating dam and calf after a period of weeks together will know that it creates some noise and a lot of vocalizations, and it's one of the things that is perceived by the farmers as one of the largest challenges. They also find housing and space limitations a challenge. Most current barns for cows are not fit for calves, and there's limited recommendations about how to house cow and calf together. The reduced saleable milk is, of course, also perceived as a challenge, but it was also apparent from the surveys that the farmers' perceptions were shaped by their experience with CCC systems. So actually, the farmers that had more experience with CCC systems saw fewer challenges and more benefits than the ones that did not have experience with CCC systems. So for the knowledge gaps, we found limited and/or confounded studies when comparing dam rearing and foster cow rearing, when compared restricted suckling and longer daily contact duration. I didn't even mention this in my review. We really the duration, when when we're comparing residual suckling and longer daily contact duration, and when comparing various durations of the suckling period with different CCC systems. So it's when I didn't even mention the comparing of various duration of the suckling period here, because we didn't find any studies where we could do that comparison. There were very few studies, and those that there were confounded with other things. We found no studies directly comparing different CCC management on economics and also on health. We did in the review, which is in the review we also described outcomes on health, but in the studies that we retained in our review, health was not the primary objective, and studies did not have the statistical power to detect differences in clinical outcomes. So really, in terms of health, there's a lack of epidemiological studies that look at and compare different CCC systems. So I think it's important to bear these knowledge gaps in mind. So there's still, even though, as Siobhan said, there's an increase in the number of studies looking at CCC, there's still a lot to be done to give practical recommendations. So in conclusion, the CCC systems are gaining support among farmers and the public. Whole day dam contacts results in more maternal care than part-time contact. Part-time dam contact stimulates calf solid intake with less compromise to saleable milk. Non-farming citizens support CCC for ethical and animal welfare reasons, and farmers value the naturalness emerging from CCC, but face practical challenges. These were the words from my side, and I hope I left some time for questions as well.
Thank you very much, Margit. And though you did leave time for questions, we had a slight shuffling, and we need to give the floor over to Florin Stanica, who is the president of the Romanian Academy of Agriculture and Forestry Sciences, to give an official Romanian welcome. So sorry, Margit, but do you want people to contact you if they have questions?
I can't hear what you're saying, Laura, but I will just agree.
Here we're struggling. The microphone is not coming to the Zoom.
They go there?
Yeah, right here. Margit, is it okay if people contact you with questions?
Yes, this okay. I see that I spend all the time. I'm sorry about that.
No, quite okay. Over to you.
Sorry, let me also leave you. Thank you.
Good morning, distinguished guests. Dear Margit, sorry, because of me, you have no time for questions and answer, but please don't shoot me. First of all, extremely sorry for my late arrival. I'm extremely pleased to be here, and I have the great pleasure to welcome you in Bucharest, in Romania, at this important, extremely important conference. I discussed with my colleague and friend Dinu Gavojdian about your project, and I was impressed where the dairy industry arrived and what are the problematics. I am a professor of pomology, so please have some low circumstances regarding my knowledge on your sector, but in the same time, I was a little cowboy when I was growing up in the remote Transylvanian village. So I grew at the cow's tail, as we say here, as many children from our villages at that time. So I know exactly how are the steps of cows and calves after birth, and actually the peasants at that time use your system CCC quite widely. So I think we are somehow returning from the industrial way of producing milk to some more traditional, sustainable, and somehow better system. So I think you have a great challenge to solve all these things. I have 3 pages of speech, but I will not stay on. What it's extremely important, and I want to congratulate you, is the fact that I was amazed that your network is so large and comprising 11 living labs, more than 150 people from different level of science, production, processing, stakeholders. So I think this is a real model of integration. What we need, I think, more and more in Romania, and we need to learn from your experience and from your great achievement. We should have a better integration vertically and horizontally on everything is milk production and milk processing till arriving the final, let's say, consumer. And as you know, people are more and more reading the labels when they are buying a product. So I think it's more important to offer alternatives to, let's say, the industrial milk, so the conventional milk. And as we do for organic products, I think also this type of milk that are much more acceptable for a certain category of people are important to be on the market. I'm sure that in the future it will be more and more requested. Probably some of you are the first time in Bucharest or in Romania. Please enjoy your stay here. You'll have, I'm sure, 2 days full of important aspects, technical and scientific aspects. I'm extremely sorry not being able to stay with you all this time. I would love to, because I would love to learn more about your wonderful sector, where Romania has a voice and should learn more and should be more integrated in the European family of high quality and special milk production. Enjoy your stay in Bucharest. If you don't have any guide for Bucharest, please call me. I will give you my phone number. And Bucharest, you know, during this First and Second World War was named as Little Paris or Paris of East because of its Francophony, buildings, traditions, things like this. Some parts of that Bucharest are still on ground, the ones that have not been demolished by Ceausescu. So please enjoy your stay here. Enjoy the Romanian food, the Romanian wines. We have excellent wines. So Romania is one of the origin countries for many varieties. We have 60 local varieties that are before the Phylloxera vastratrix invasion in 19th century. So I hope you will have a great stay in Romania. I will visit also some dairy farms and Dracula Castle. I was born there, so when some foreigners are coming, I show them my remote control. I have a remote control for the big flank. So please enjoy Romania, be back, and let's work together as a CCC dairy family to improve the things also in this sector. Thank you so much. I'm very finished.
Now we have 2 quick mid presentations from Christina and Dinu.
Yeah. This one, I don't know.
We do it yesterday.
It was working. So we have the shed.
Was it down here or was it?
Yeah.
No, hang on a minute. That's
But from the Zoom, share.
It was.
Yes. So just to throw a microphone. Let's see my system.
Can you try this? The mic.
Sure, something. Like yeah, we don't need big one. See.
We don't need a mic. We can speak loud.
No, it's not going. The mic isn't going to the Zoom. It's not. They're not picking it up at all. It's just
That's why we have to stand here.
They stand right here.
Stand there and talk loud.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I need to talk quite loud because the mic is not working well, so I hope you can hear me back, and then the people on the screen also hear me okay. Good. So I'm Stine Kischel from Norway, and I am the facilitator from Norway and Sweden. And we do have a joint group as well, then with 2 countries, which I already said. We have 15 engaged farmers plus some additional attendees. Mostly of them are CCC farmers, but we also do have some that are interested or going. They're trying and failing and trying and failing, but they're really eager to make it happen. And it is ranging from 17 cows to 1,500 cows, but it's actually just one farmer, which is that big. Most of us are between then 17 and 40, I would say. We do have activities, which is a lot of online meetings. We are trying approximately every second month to have a meeting. And so far we had farm visits, and we also joined the conference in the Netherlands in March. And we do have a lot of living lab activities. We applied for some more money. This is not working very well. Maybe push it down. Oh, yeah. Okay. No, no. Leave it, Dino. Okay, so we did apply for some extra money, so we are doing some extra things as well. But our living lab is about separation stress, and it's called the Stress Lab, and we will do smart monitoring for calf well-being. We have several farmers from a questionnaire in Norway telling that they stopped doing CCC due to separation stress. And this is also many farmers from our from our NIP is also saying this, that they have experienced that calves have cows are screaming for the calves, and the calves could also have drop in weight gain. So because of that, we are wondering if some separation methods are better than others. And because of that, we have now 7 CCC farms from our NIP that will have joined this pilot project. And we have 2 control farms that are not doing CCC. And they will look at data from SenSub sensors. And we will do schemes and also measurements to look at the weight gain. And because of this extra money, we will also do some extra NIP activities from the group, as, for example, teaching at schools, do one-to-one advisory service,
have a webinar and also CCC meeting in person for advisors and other farmers in this region in Norway. Over to you.
Hello, everyone, again. You don't seem to be able to get rid of me. So when it comes to the Romanian NIP, we're happy that we already had our 4 NIP meetings. The first one was online to set up the network, and then the remaining 3, or the last 3, were on farm at the request of our NIP members. So we have 10 engaged members, and as Tina said, we have some additional attendees. Some people are curious, they join us in our meetings, and they're getting in contact. So our NIP meeting comprises of 4 farmers, 2 vets, 1 advisor, and 3 researchers. So myself, Madalina, and Ioana. And we're happy to be the first one, because I've been told I'm very competitive, to be the first one to organize the national webinar, which was a success. It was in October 2025. We had 57 participants. And also we have the highest number of online watches on YouTube. So go there. Yay, Romania. And our living lab was the focus in the last 6 months, as Julie has us do. So when it comes to the Romanian living lab, we have the CCC pilot study under tide stall system. If you guys remember from my presentation earlier, the tethered system is the most prevalent in Romania. So roughly 2/3 of the cows are being kept under tide stall conditions. So we had to adapt. The idea was to adapt the loose system that is happening in most European countries, the CCC system, to try and adapt it to the tide stall system. So to adapt it to the Romanian environment. And the 2 main objectives of our living lab is represented by, firstly, it is the first step to develop CCC practice in farms with tide stanchion barn systems, while providing technical knowledge and that are adapted to the local dairy context. And then the second objective will be to test these systems with the goal to assess animal welfare, animal performance, so milk production and growth rates in calves, welfare, so this is Madalina's turf, bioacoustics and infrared thermography, the workload, compared conventional to the CCC system, because tide systems generally are not very automatic, so it needs a higher workload. Obviously animal health, so looking at the other health and vet records for both cows and calves. And at the end, we want to do an economic assessment outcome under our Romanian conditions when it comes to both inputs, but also milk prices and veal calf prices. So thank you.
Now we're going to switch online and hear a view from New Zealand from our TDN collaborators, and Racheal from Lincoln University is going to guide us through that.
Oh, thank you.
So Racheal, you should be able to share your slides, I think, from your end.
Okay, can you hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you great.
Great. All right, hopefully you can see that.
Yep, that looks good.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity. My name's Racheal. I'm an academic at Lincoln University in New Zealand in the South Island, and I'm really pleased to be a collaborator with the TransformDairyNet. The photo that you can see there is a photo taken from one of the research trials that I've done comparing cow-calf contact with artificial rearing. And just to give you a little bit of context about dairy farming in New Zealand and Australia, there's some statistics here with just under 5 million dairy cows in New Zealand and 1.3 million cows in Australia. In New Zealand, we have very large herds, and they can range from 100 cows to 1,200 cows, with an average of 450. Slightly smaller in Australia. The other stats there, just we grow grass really well in New Zealand. Our climate and our soils enable us to do that. So we've got over 10,000 dairy farms producing 4,500 litres per cow, and we export over 90% of the dairy products that we produce to our international markets. And from an economic point of view, 80% of the diet of our cows in New Zealand is made up of pasture, and it's a bit less than that in Australia, but still over half of the diet comes from pasture. And our calves are born in early spring, late winter, early spring, typically to line up with the pasture feed supply. And we focus on having very compact calving. So 70% of calves are typically born in the first 6 weeks. So where you've got herds of 400 to 1,000 cows, that's a lot of calves appearing and needing to be managed each day. And most farms will remove their calves from their dams within a day. So farms will vary on whether they collect calves once, twice, or 3 times a day. And we typically rear those calves in a group housing situation, like the photo you can see there. It's more common in Australia to have single housed calves. And as far as milk feeding goes, with our artificially reared calves, there's no one way that farmers rear their calves. There's huge variety and range in terms of the restriction in milk and timing and frequency of feedings. We typically wean our calves at around about 80 to 120 kilos. Our cows are smaller than a lot of European cows. They range in weight from 450 to about 550 kilos as their mature weight. And we typically wean our calves anywhere from 6 to 14 weeks of age. In terms of cow-calf contact in New Zealand and Australia, it's very, very rare. It's been a real struggle to find farmers who are using cow-calf contact. There are a few micro dairies selling premium products, so Happy Cow Milk and How Now Cow in Australia are some examples of that. There have been examples of other farmers that have done it but have stopped doing cow-calf contact from a commercial point of view. But there's definitely an increase in the research side of things, which Siobhan has mentioned previously, there's a growing interest, and not just where you are, but here in New Zealand and Australia as well. So we've been doing cow-calf contact research at Lincoln University. There's a trial happening at Massey University in the North Island and in the Tasmania in Australia as well. So when I found out about TDN, I contacted Siobhan straight away to see if I could be involved in any way and leverage off what you're doing there, because I think it's a really great program. And I attended the EKIN in Greece last year, which was really great. And from that have established an Australasian NIP, and we've got 12 members. And of those, we've got 6 farmers who are practicing a range of cow-calf contact. And the reason for building that, putting together that hub, is to help farmers over here in a pastoral context, supporting them in their practices. We're using TDN to help leverage against the knowledge gaps and learn from what you're learning and help develop solutions for farmers over here. So our farmers are located where you can see on the map there, and the types of operations they're using is a combination of either a foster or nurse cow system, and the farmers that in the group are more trialing it with smaller mobs of cows or carryover cows, or with a certain group of calves that they're trying to grow quickly and reduce rearing costs by having those calves reared on nurse cows. There's one farm that's a pure CCC farm where they're doing all their animals as cow-calf contact. From a research point of view, we've been busy trying to add to the body of knowledge that's steadily growing on this particular topic. So we've done a mini review for JDS Communications Special Issue, as well as publishing the results of our own research that we've been doing in Australia and New Zealand. And in a nutshell, the things that we've been finding is that from the mini lit review that Stacey led and will be part of a webinar in July, we've acknowledged that there's not very much research in the pastoral space for cow-calf contact. There's a lot of barriers to adoption for farmers in our context. But in terms of what we've seen in the trials that we've done with calves and their dams, is that there's general agreement between housed calves and pastoral CCC systems regarding calf growth, which is really good when suckling on their dams. Agreement with the low machine milking yield or harvested milk yield from dams during suckling, and also that consistency and much lower milk fat component from machine milked cows that are suckling. We've also noted that from our research and from the farmers in our group that it's very labour intensive to have this kind of system, particularly in the first few weeks as cows kind of settle into their routines. So next steps from here is we've got a lot of data collectively, and we're looking at the longevity of the calves that were in our earlier trials and the impact of suckling on milk yield, and we hope to combine our data sets to look at to give us a bit more statistical power and look at the long-term production and economic effects. So that's me if there's any questions.
Thank you very much, Racheal. I think we have time for one question if somebody has one. No? Okay, then we've ended perfectly on time, which is rather surprising. Thank you very much. And now it's time for a coffee break for those of us in the room. And for those of you online, take a stretch break, I think is the best option. Glass of milk, they've said. CCC in particular.
With Yuri and Alessia presenting the Italian news.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuri. I'm the national facilitator for Italy, for buffaloes. And there are some news from our NIPS. Our NIPS is composed by 13 participants, 5 farmers, 2 professors, 1 technician, and 5 veterinarians. So it's a multicultural participant. We have at date 4 NIP meeting, 1 farm visit. That you can see the photo. We give it the challenge of our farmers to the challenge for our farmers for some spaces for applied CCC systems. We hosted a webinar in collaboration with Anafi BJ called Space Management for the Implementation of the CCC for solving these challenges from our farmers. We do the video interview with the farmers, the one with the TDN, and we are submitted the abstract to the Fort Worth Buffalo Congress that make live in Sorrento, Napoli, Italian, this October. And other that we submitted our other abstract in Matera. Thanks for that. In other congress, and there are our living labs called the foster and dam breeding on buffalo kills. We co-operate with our living labs. We have some challenge with the calves rearing in pasture, but okay, we go ahead. And we identify this knowledge gap for our living lab. So identify the best CCC system in buffaloes farming, because I remember you that in buffaloes is not used the CCC system. So for now it's a 0 point. Explore ways to enhance the value of the CCC system in buffaloes farms. We have difficulties in contact between buffaloes and calves due to selective breeding, because usually buffaloes produce 7 or 8 liters in Italy of milk per day, with a good selective breeding. We have buffaloes that produce 20 or 30 kilos of milk per day, so it could be a problem for us to take a calves under this animal, and challenge at this space, as I said that, and assess with whether CCC provides added value both in animal growth and in derivative product. So if we can added value to buffalo's product, is a good point for us. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Alessia and today I represent an FBJ from Italy. At this time, our NIP is composed by 14 participants, 3 farmers, 6 researchers, 2 vets, and 3 technicians. With a member of our NIP, we organized a visit to the farm in April, during which we explain how the sensor work and their application. Sorry, we had a productive exchange about information, materials, data, and consideration with our member. As you said, on the 16th February with ANASB, we have our webinar called Space Management for the Implementation of CCC. In addition, we are in constant contact with the members of our NIP regarding Living Lab update. Our Living Lab is called Quantitative and Qualitative Monitoring of Cow-Calf Contact, a non-invasive sensor-based approach for welfare-oriented management in dairy system. The title is too long and intuitive and accurately describe what takes place in our Living Lab. In detail, we use the sensor that measures frequency and duration about the contact with the cow and his calf. This data will be integrated with health data and the cow's production data. By the end of the project, we hope to find a positive correlation between this data. In Italy, unfortunately, only few farmers use CCC practices because there are difficulties in managing the space in the farm, and also difficult is make clear to the farmers that these practices have also benefits. We hope that the situation may changes naturally as an association. We will provide our support to our members that will try to apply this system.
Let's give us some insights from the TDN survey. Why did some farmers stop CCC and what do the dairy companies think?
Hello, everyone. My name is Anina Vogt from the Thürn Institute in Germany. And as Madalina said, today I have the joy to present to you some insights which we gathered through our big TDN survey that was launched last summer and autumn. And as you might be aware, we had a survey for each of the relevant stakeholders along the chain, being it the farmers, the advisors, veterinarians, retailers, and also the dairy companies. And today I want to present to you the insights which we got from the surveys with the farmers that started CCC but stopped with it again, and of the dairy companies, so what their views are on CCC systems. So I'll start with the farmers that did CCC but then stopped to do it. And here's an overview of the sample because we did not have a representative survey. We just put it out there and see who answered. So give you a little bit of a feeling what is in our sample. We had 118 responses from 9 countries in total, and 72 participants answered the questions on challenges and barriers. And as you can see, the countries the farmers came from were Austria, Denmark, Estonia, Germany, Italy, Norway, Ireland, Romania, and the UK. But as you can also see, our sample is very heavily skewed towards Norwegian and German farmers. So this is more or less a Norwegian-German survey because from the other countries, we only had 1 to 4 participants, just to keep this in mind. The duration of CCC practice before the farmers stopped with CCC again was for 31 of the farmers about 1.5 years to 2 years, and 90 participants did it for less than half a year. So this is the majority. And then the farm type was mostly conventional farms. The type of CCC system that they tried was for the most part a dam rearing system, but there were also 19 farmers that did not follow a specific system, but did it completely cow-calf dependent. And the herd size was was for 30 of the participants less than 50 cows, and then also 50 to 100 cows. We had quite a lot of farmers and only very few that had more than 100 cows. So this is our sample. And for us, the main or most important question was, of course, the question about the main challenges with the former CCC system. Because if we have farmers that start with CCC and then decide to discontinue this, this is, of course, not what we want to see if we want to upscale CCC systems. So on this question, we had 4 categories. What you can see here. No. So 4 categories, and these were animal health and welfare, milking and on-farm management, barn design, workload and economics, and personal relationships, external support and regulations. So in each of these 4 categories, which you can see, they had 8 answer options each per category. 1 was other. So if they didn't find what they wanted to answer, they could also add another option, and they could choose 4 out of the 8 options on each category. So the probability for ticking each of the boxes is equal. And I think this is important. And because this gives us quite a big graph, I split this in 2 halves so you can read it a bit better. So these are the answers that we got on the main challenges with the former CCC system. Out of the 72 farmers, 49 said weaning and separation stress of cows and calves was the main challenge with my former CCC system. And this is, of course, not coming to any surprise to any of us. On the other answers, we did not have anything that really stood out. On the category of barn design, workload, and economics, 38 out of the farmers said unsuitable barn design and infrastructure on the farm was a main challenge. And then, of course, the lack of funding or financial support schemes and the impaired economic performance. So these top 3 topics come out again, which we also heard during the scientific review. Weaning and separation stress, barn design, and also the economic are the main challenges. And if you remember my presentation from last year's EKIN, where I presented the results of the innovation wheel method, where we also asked all of our NIPs, what are the current challenges and barriers which limit the uptake of CCC practice in your country? Also, each of the NIPs listed these 3 topics, like it was mentioned by all of the NIPs that we are having. And lastly, there has also been a review published this year, 2026, on barriers on the implementation of cow-calf contact systems And also there, these three topics pop up. So we kind of have our top three challenges quite well identified, I would say. Then moving on to the question, which challenges were the main reasons that you stopped practicing CCC? 66 of the farmers answered this question, and this was a free text answer. So they could just type in whatever they wanted. And I tried to group it afterwards, what topics they mentioned. And 18 out of the 66 farmers said something in their free text answer that was related to economics and reduced saleable milk yield. And 17 each said something about lack of space, that the barn was not suitable, that they had problems with separation stress, and lastly, poor health of the calf. And because this is a new one, I just wanted to dive a bit deeper into this topic. So in the free text answers, they wrote something like, we had very high calf losses, we had high calf mortality, many calves died, something like this. Also, many farmers said we had uncontrolled spread of cryptosporidia. Others said just something about contagious diarrhea or a type of infectious diarrhea. So it was all centered about this diarrhea, and some even specified it as cryptosporidia. And then few farmers also reported sores on knees and that calves developed a joint inflammation from lying around in a barn that was not adapted. So this is, of course, also related to unsuitable barn design as much as the former is related to and maybe not ideal hygiene management. So this could be both. Okay, then we have a Norwegian survey from 2023, which also asked the farmers about their main reasons for discontinuing with CCC, which had 213 participants. And I just wanted to show that the results are perfectly in line. Also the top four: separation stress, space requirement, less saleable milk, and poor health of cow and calf. So also here we can see that the main reasons to stop with CCC are quite clear. But of course, remember, our sample is also quite torn towards Norwegian farmers, so it's kind of logical. Okay, one interesting thing, we also, of course, have to survey for the farmers that currently still practice CCC, so that did not stop. And we also asked them, what are the main challenges in your CCC system? And where we had 192 participants. And I just want to show that weaning and separation stress of cows and calves was also mentioned as a main challenge of those still currently running the system, as well as lack of funding or financial support schemes. But for calf health problems and transmittable diseases, this was not very often mentioned by farmers who are still doing it. And actually, it is often something that farmers who run CCC systems that they say calf health is better. It has actually improved since I do CCC. And also, the unsuitable barn design was not a main challenge on CCC systems, or it was not mentioned so often. So I think what we can take home from this is that we have much agreement regarding the main challenges. I think this is kind of good, like we really know our enemy and what we need to work on. And we know that we need more knowledge transfer on options for suitable barn design and keeping calves in good health in CCC systems, because obviously there's farmers that do start it and then stop doing it because it doesn't work. But we have farmers that have figured this out, sorted it out, and we really need the knowledge transfer from those that do it properly and have made it work to those that had problems with this. And I think this is something we can focus on in the last year of the TDN project to get this maybe a bit more going also in the specific NIPs. And then there's more innovation on improved weaning methods needed, as well as solutions for marketing options and financial support schemes, because they are also the farmers who are currently still running the CCC systems reported problems. And I think we are quite good on this because we have the Norwegian Living Lab on weaning and separation stress. We have the Danish Living Lab on the economics. And we also have 2 webinars in TDN scheduled on these 2 topics during autumn. So yeah, I think this is quite nice that we have worked something out which finds solutions for the problems that we have identified in the survey. Good. So far for the first part. In the second part of my talk, I now want to share with you the results of the dairy company questionnaire. What are their opinions on CCC? Because this is, of course, very important for the economics. So it links quite nicely together. Also here, to give you a brief overview of our sample, we had 22 responses from 10 countries in total. The dairy companies that answered our questionnaire were from Austria, Finland, Germany, Greece, Malta, Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Spain, one from a non-EU country and one that didn't specify. And just, I want to stress that this is great. Like, we have dairy companies as interested in CCC that they took the time to answer our survey from this many countries. This in itself I find really nice. From these 22 responses, 15 completed the questionnaire, but 5 were not at all familiar with CCC systems, so we could not get too much information out what I can show you today. And we had 2 that were very familiar and already had established a separate processing line for CCC milk, but they had only 1 production site and 1 supplier in total, so this is more direct marketing, so not so much what I want to focus on. So our final sample is 8 dairy companies. And you can see here, they came from Greece, Norway, Austria, Netherlands, and Germany. And in Greece, they were only a little familiar with CCC. In all of the other countries, they were reasonably to very familiar with CCC systems. The size of the dairy companies had quite a big range. So you see the processing volume ranged from 100 tons of raw milk per year up to 3,500 million tons of raw milk per year. So really big span, and none of them had separate processing of CCC milk in place yet. So first question we were asking them was about the awareness about CCC systems in general. So how often do you discuss or speak about the topic of CCC systems with colleagues from your own dairy company? And the 2 dairy companies from Austria and Germany did not answer this question, so the sample size is 6. And you can see in Norway, the people from the dairy companies speak reasonably often to very often with their colleagues about this topic. In the Netherlands, it's intermediate, and in Greece, it was seldom to never. Then we also asked them if they ever had an inquiry for processing of CCC milk as a separate processing line in the past in their dairy company. And this could be from farmers, but also from the media, from consumer organizations, anything. And as you can see, none of the dairy company representatives was aware that they ever had any inquiry about a separate processing line for CCC milk. But then we were asking if no, do you know of any other dairy companies in your country that had such inquiries for a separate processing line for CCC milk? In the past, there was at least a Norwegian representative that said, yes, I know that there has been another dairy company in the Netherlands that has been asked for separate processing of CCC milk. Anyway, so even if there were not many inquiries about separate CCC processing, we had a positive response on the effect of popularity. So we were asking them, do you think that processing milk from CCC systems as a separate processing line would enhance your company's popularity with suppliers and retailers in the future, being the next 3 to 5 years? And as you can see, 5 out of the 8 dairy companies said yes. Like, if we would start a separate processing of CCC milk, we think this would really enhance our popularity with suppliers and retailers. So this is a positive result. Only the dairy company from Germany said no, this would not make a difference. Not surprising. Okay. Then also here the most interesting question maybe is which reasons or main challenges prevent your dairy company from processing CCC milk as a separate processing line at the moment? And here you can see that 5 out of the 8 dairy companies said that there is simply too little supply of CCC milk from farms within reasonable distance at the moment, and that this is the biggest problem for them, that they cannot establish a separate CCC processing line. And then the next 2 are connected to this, saying that separate processing of CCC milk within our milk plant is too complicated, inefficient, or expensive at the moment. And also the milk collection itself from the various CCC farms is too complicated, inefficient, or expensive at the moment. So really the little supply or low supply and logistics are the main barriers for the dairy companies for establishing separate CCC processing. There were also some which said there is no market or demand for CCC milk at the moment. And also, again, Germany and Greece said that they don't want to. The standard dairy system is good as it is. Good. Very interesting. I have found also the results on the challenges compared to other special milk types. So we were asking, are there any specific challenges that you would face as a dairy company with the processing of CCC milk compared to processing of other special milk type, for example, GMO-free milk, meadow-grass milk, or also organic milk. And here you can see that the majority said that there would not be special challenges with processing CCC milk. It would be the same as with these other special milk types. But 2 from Austria and also from Norway said, yes, actually there would be additional challenges. And they were specified as the following: that there is intense competition for goods in grocery retail, and it is hard to convince the consumer to buy the product. So more about an additional product, maybe that has to compete with organic even. And then the second company said, usually the CCC farms deliver less milk to the dairy company. For a dairy processor, manufactured milk, as cheese, has a higher profit contribution than raw milk. So since the milk price has to be higher for CCC systems, the cheese would therefore be quite expensive. So here we see the additional problem that we have less CCC farms than organic farms, and that they additionally provide less milk. And this is an additional challenge for the dairy companies. Okay. Then on the question of the market potential of CCC milk. So we were asking the dairy companies, do you perceive that there is or will be a relevant market being more than a niche production for CCC milk and or CCC dairy products in your country in the future, being the next 3 to 5 years? And as you can see, none of the dairy companies thinks that there is already a market for either the milk or the dairy products in their country. But the Norwegian dairy companies, 2 of them think that there likely will be a market within the next 3 to 5 years. Germany agrees, think that there will not be any market for CCC products, and from Austria and the Netherlands and also 1 Norwegian dairy company, they said potentially CCC has a market potential if it is integrated into criteria for already existing special milk types in the future, for example, again, meadow-grass milk or organic milk. So this links a little bit to the other question where we said there's not that many additional challenges with the processing, and the majority, 4 out of the 8, say if we see market potential, it would be as part of other special milk types. I think this is a very interesting result for us. Okay, then we also asked them what would be or how high needs to be the minimum supply from CCC milk in your collection area in order to be economically viable for your dairy company. So how much milk do you need? And here you can also see that there was quite a big range, or it was a range from 5,000 liters per day up to 100,000 liters per day of CCC milk that they would need in order to have an economically viable processing of the milk. So this, of course, depends on the dairy size of the dairy company's size. So those which are bigger, of course, need a higher minimum milk supply per day. But there was more agreement on the needed sales price. So how high would need to be the sales price? It would be about 2 to 3 euros for them to have it economically viable. Okay. The last question was about the willingness to pay a premium from the dairy companies. So would your company be willing to pay a premium for milk sourced from CCC suppliers? And here the Norwegian dairy company said yes, we would pay CCC farmers a premium for their milk. Germany again said no, we would not pay any premium. Then in Austria and the Netherlands, they said it depends on many factors. And when we were asking them to specify, they said it would depend on the conditions from the buyers. And also the other said the retailers need to pay more for the milk. So their willingness to pay a premium kind of depends how much they get from the retailer, if they can kind of like get the premium back from the retailers, and also on long-term contracts. Yeah, to sum up, I think we see that there's variable awareness about CCC with the dairy companies depending on the country, which is not surprising. We have not heard of any increase from farmers or others about separate CCC processing lines, but the dairy companies still perceive a potential to increase their popularity with suppliers and retailers when they would start with processing of CCC milk as a separate processing line. The limited supply and logistics are the main challenges for separate processing of CCC milk at the moment. And also the challenges are perceived as mostly comparable to those which they face with other special milk types, such as organic milk, except for the lower milk supply that we have in CCC systems. The market potential was considered as variable, again, depending on the country, but most of them regarded as, or the most market potential as part of other special milk types. And the willingness to pay a premium for CCC farms was, again, variable depending on the country. And yeah, with this, I would like to thank you for your attention, everyone who has helped with writing the survey. And the dairy companies who have answered the survey. I also want to thank them.
Thank you. Questions or comments for Anina?
I have an online question from Cornelia. For the farmers that stopped doing CCC, what was the range and average regarding total contact duration of weaning? And were the farms included doing CCC only with some of their animals, e.g. only female calves?
Okay. On the first question, I know there's been the duration until weaning was 1.5 to 2.5 months, because again, we had a skewed sample for Norwegian farmers, which do it shorter, which will, of course, or might have influenced the results. The second, I don't know on the top of my head, but I think it was probably most of them were doing it only with part of the calves, I would assume. But I'm not sure about this, only about the weaning age.
Publish the results.
Yes, of course. Of course.
Thank you, Anina. Next, we have 3 more NEP presentations given by Sarah from Germany, Eirik from Estonia, and Maya from Denmark.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Saro. I present you our NIP in Germany. We have 18 farm members in our group, and we had so far 9 meetings, 6 online, 3 in-person and on-farm meetings. And one of them was together with our colleagues from Austria. We had also 1 external speaker in our online meeting, Sylvia Evemeyer. I saw she is online now also. Welcome to her. And we are planning a webinar next month with a speaker from a cattle barn construction company. And I think this fits very well to the presentation of Anina now, that this is a very big issue for farmers who want to go to CCC system. The title of our support scheme, of our living lab, is CCC support schemes. The background is we have quite some literature now in Germany about CCC systems and manuals, etc. But at the stage of conversion to the CCC systems, there are questions coming up. And I met, meanwhile, quite a number of farmers who tried CCC system and who gave up again, who switched back to the former system. And many of them had no support. They had no exchange with experienced farmers, etc. And the idea of our group was to develop support schemes or to assess existing support schemes and to help newcomers in introduction of the CCC system, so that they, when there is a question coming up, they can have a contact person of an experienced farmer or an experienced advisor how to tackle this problem which comes up during the conversion period. And this was also one of the results. It is not a conversion that is done quickly. It is a longer process. It takes 2, 3, 5 years until the farm has found its suitable CCC system. And giving assistance during this time is the target of our living lab. And there we, and in this way, we hope that we can reduce the number of reswitchers to the old system. Okay, thank you.
Hello, I am Airi Vetemaa from Estonia, and as you saw earlier, we are falling in the group of the countries where we have very little or almost no experience in CCC systems. But nevertheless, we have our NIP together. We have farmers are mostly organic. We have only one conventional farmer in our group, and other interested parties. We are coming together and discussing how to do better in Estonia. Our practice is really very small. We have right now we have 3 small, very untypical farms for Estonia, who are kind of hobby type of dairy production, and they have a dam system. And then we have what we are really happy of. We have a agricultural college, and they have a college farm, and there they are testing the foster system. They have their ups and downs, but they are still on the board, and we hope that they will get experience. And this project has supported them actually a lot to move on and to find better solutions. And we also have had several meetings, and we were really happy to have a presentation on our one of our meetings from medical dairy Charles Hellett, who is also here present today. So we are very grateful for sharing that you were sharing the experiences. And as we really don't have our own experiences, then we are looking outside, and we are really happy that our living lab is what is called Bridging Knowledge on cow-calf contact systems, and our opportunity was to visit Danish farms. Thanks, Maya and other colleagues from Denmark, who are really open, and we were able to see 4 very different farms. They were all in the size which is more compatible to Estonian typical farm sizes, like 200 and even 800 cows. And our farmers felt that this system is really possible. And they were picking the pieces from different farms. And I think it's really important to see and feel different solutions, because as we have seen, there isn't really one size fits all. We are struggling to definition what cow-calf system really is. And so when you see how the details of the systems are implemented in different farms, we really can come upon with our own solutions and start from somewhere and probably reach to the system which are applicable and doable also in our systems. So now we are doing follow-up, and we are trying to spread this knowledge in our country. Thank you.
All right. So I'm Maya from Denmark, and I am the national facilitator for the Danish NIP. And our NIP was we already had a nice network of farmers in Denmark that are interested in or doing cow-calf contact. So we were lucky in that capacity. So we've continued sending invitations for all of these farmers and also other interested stakeholders, such as veterinarians and advisors and researchers, to our NIP meetings. And so far, the NIP meetings have mainly been visiting farms with cow-calf contact systems, but especially it has been farms with homestead dairying and direct selling, which is not very common in Denmark. And I'll come back to why, because this is the topic of our living lab. So that's going to be the next slide. Another thing that we're currently planning and that will also involve our NIPs is a webinar in June, which will also be on barn drawings. So this is a topic that we're tackling from multiple sides. In our case, we have in a previous project developed technical barn drawings for 5 different cow-calf contact barns, and we will present them in the webinar. It will be in Danish, but I guess the drawings will work in every language, so it should be interesting for everyone. So the Living Lab is a small group from the NIP that are all not so typically Danish dairy farms. They are smaller. All of them have experience with cow-calf contact, either dam rearing or foster systems. But what they all have in common is that they really need a premium for their milk if they are to continue a dam calf contact system. So they need to be able to highlight this added value of the meat and the milk they produce. So they need a premium price. And they are really finding a lack of direct contact to the consumers. They don't have a way to tell their story at the moment. So they want to explore the opportunity of direct selling. And there seems to be several obstacles that stand in the way of implementing this in Denmark. The legislations and the regulations are sort of unclear on what can you do on your farm, how big scale do you need to do it? Can you actually do it really small scale and still fulfill all the requirements? There are also, and I know this is kind of funny to people from larger countries, but in Danish standards, there's relatively large distance between these farms. So they can't really see an economical way of sharing a process plant or like a mobile plant, but maybe this could be a solution. And then they need to agree on some sort of common standards for the interested people here, so that they can brand their product. And this is also something we're working on and talking about marketing and creating a website and so on. We did have one interesting visit. We had multiple, but there was one that was interesting in terms of the economic perspective. We visited a Danish small farm just outside of Copenhagen, which is important in this matter. But they were selling their milk at 7.4 euros per liter, and doing very well, could not keep up with demand. So there's a market, at least in parts of Denmark, for this. Yeah, thank you. That was all from me.
So next we have 3 special guests sharing their partner stories. Please join me in welcoming the first speaker, Eivind Vangen from Norway.
These buttons and try and stand here because only the mic going through the computer is working. So don't walk around.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't.
Okay. Yes. Hello, my name is Eivind Vangen. I come from Tynset in Norway. It's here, marked on the map there. The farm is located 500 meters above the sea level, runs 30 hectare forage area, dry cows and heifers or no-till pastures in summertime. And I have a conventional agriculture. Production in my farm in Norway, we still have a quote for milk. Mine is 240 tons that I can deliver annually. All the milk is delivered to Tine Dairies, which is the market regulator for milk in Norway. Yes, and I deliver around 8.5 tons of meat to the slaughterhouse annually. The cows is 36 dairy cows and 57 young stock. There's replacement of 12 heifers in the year, and I'm feeding up my bulls, 20 bulls in the year, and I slaughter them between 16 and 20 months, and have a slaughter weight to annually, gjennomsnitt, also 365 kilos every bulls. I have we call it the Norwegian red cattle, Scandinavian red, you know it. I took over the farm in 2014 from my mother and father. Typical average farm, it's 160 tons of a quote. Have a tie stall with room for 24 dairy cows and 30 young stock. I feed a calf with a teat bar, tried most things, sour milk, powder milk, raw milk, but struggle with diarrhea. In 2017, I tried to have the calf out in a separate house. It's got better, but I never get it 100%. So in 2024, I moved into a rented farm, a freestall barn. There it was ready to use a Lely A3. It was the first year I tried cow-calf contact. I just write down the numbers for 25, what they produce. And the first lactation, I'm not satisfied with that, but second lactation and third and higher, I think we are there. And fat percent and protein and delivery percent. The delivery percent, I have that before I begin cow-calf, and that was 10% more. So the calf drinks 10%, 10% more, because then I was feed raw milk. The calves are together with the mother for 90 days. After that, they are weaning directly without any more contact. The calf drink average of 13 to 14 per day from birth to weaning. The growth of the calf is good. The calf on the bottom, there. I sell it, so I weighed it live weight, and he was 211 kilos in 120 days. So if he have a board weight on 40, he have 1.4 kilo every day. There was no thought of cow-calf in the rental barn. The calf often lay on the stalls when it was free there. Often they ended up on the feed table. So I have a free space where I added some straw. This is the stalls for heifer in that barn. And they went there voluntarily, where they also had free access to grain and biochar. New barn in 2026. I moved in 15 April this year. 540 square meters with full muck cells. Extension cost 90,000 euro with indoor mechanization. Yep. This is a floor plan for dairy cows. I can point a little bit, maybe. Yes, this is the old barn. and this is the extension. The milking cows is on the right side, and I have for dry cows. I can put, you see the line on the top. I can shut it off there and choose how many stalls I want on the other side after how many dry cows I have. In the summertime is no problem because they are out. I have a welfare department that is with the robot here and down. There is 5, but I have 6 in real life. The calf hide creep. It's the white fish. I have a picture of it after. Heifer is on this side of the feeding table, all the way, every age. The bulls is on the bin. There's 4 bins in the old barn. And this pink field is it's 4 bins for weaned calf from 3 months and up. And then I move them bulls there and heifer in the new. It was interaction with calves, 4 calving pens. I draw it here, but it's a 3 because I have put on a main gate, a crew gate, extra there. So I only have 3 now. But in the summertime when the heifer is out, I have 2 bins here. So I have 5 bins in the summertime for calving. No. I buy a daily A5 next. It's I don't have many cows with calf on it yet. I just have 1. One heifer with twins, but it's looking prominent. From the A3 to that, it's a different world. This, you see the main gate on the right side, beside the feeding table. And it's a 3 opening for the calf. For a cows, the calf bin. And that is for a calf crib. And this is in the old barn on the other side. So, like I said, I just have 2 no, but they have a good space. It's I don't know how many calf I can get in there, but I can move into the bins if yes, I use one of the calf bins to extend the space. There, it's from the feeding table. I don't think I have much more. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Questions?
Thank you very much for what we learned from you today, and congratulations for big achievements.
Yes.
I have something to ask you first. 3 questions. One is, where do you sell your milk?
Selling?
Yes.
It's everyone is selling to Tina. It's not a private.
Okay.
It's a market regulator in Norway. They take everything.
It is in higher prices. You get higher prices for these?
No, they say something less, but no.
No. Okay. How many workers you have with you?
I have one, but he is we are five. Now we are five sharing him. So we are 5 farmers sharing one person.
Okay. Important. Yeah. Last thing, do you have anything to say about the health status, the health threats of cows? Mortality rates are decreased. Are you happy with this, with the health of the cows?
Yes, but I have some issues. It's 2 every year. So, but I think that's it, cholesterol. Is the problem.
So you are.
But
with 66 then? Yes. It's better.
It's so much better on health. Yes.
This is what like.
But that's it. But it's only me. I have to feed the cow serve. It's the exam. So it's much better than my feeding them.
Okay.
Because when we have upstart, it's look like when I get a disease, a diarrhea or cough or something, it's everything. But now it's immune system. Then it's much stronger.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Very honored to meet you.
Very interesting presentation. I have only one question. Did you have any support for investments?
One more time.
From the government, from industry, I didn't know. Did you have any support?
Finance, yes, from the government. I have that. How many % you want to know? Oh, I don't pay 90,000 euro. I have a support from Norway. Yes.
Support.
It's I have to have it to finance this. I cannot afford this without that. Yes.
Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation, and congratulations also that you do this long-term dam rearing system. I would like to hear about your assessment of workload. Do you think it's less work, more work with having the counter-contact system?
Okay. It's very easy. It's less work. I do nothing.
It's very nice. It's doing nothing, but so.
When we have the toy stall, we often in the calving we have 18-hour days. No, it's never over 6. That's 6 hours is a long day. The average is 4 hours a day.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I have a question regarding the milk consumption of the calves. You presented 13 to 14 liters. How did you measure this or calculate this? Or
I just take out milk and lactation on the robot. I see it, lactation. So I can see how much, but it's just announced. Yeah.
Estimation.
I guess, yes. But I see, I take that delivery % and bring it out from there.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, the presentation. Thank you so much for that. I'm curious about your barn design. Was this something that you worked together with your local Lely Centre to be able to design this shed, or was it like another private contractor that you worked with?
It's the Lely in Norway's Fjøssystemer. It's he who has the drawing, but I gave them how this barn should look like. So they draw it after what I say they should draw.
Okay. So it was kind of your design based on what you, sort of your experience of working in the old sheds. Okay. Yeah, thank you so much.
The last questions, because short question about how the contact is organized, the daily contact of cow and calf, and the AMS traffic. So is it forced traffic?
It's free traffic, AMS, and it's the cows goes, all the cows goes on the way. They will have a grain, but the heifer is more work with, but it's 3-4 days, then they go self.
Get all the grain only in the...
No, I have in the rental barn, I have all the grain in the robot, but now I have a cosmic, so they get grain in a separate. So I have not tried it yet, so I don't know, but I think they will go in the robot still. It's just I don't feed so much in cosmics. I feed a whole ration in the robot. Every day, 24 hours.
Thank you. We have Bernhard Kurz from Austria sharing his CCC farmers together with his son.
Yes. Okay, thank you. So, hello everyone. It's nice to meet you. It's a pleasure to be here to see all these very nice people who are interested in the CCC system or who are pushing it forward, let's say. My name is Bernhard Kurz. This is my son. His name is also Bernhard. We can call him Bernie if you want. And he is supporting me today because, you know, it's not our everyday job. So we thought we'd make it together. Okay. So, yes, I will start with the introduction of our family a little bit. So it's let's say a story, a family story that my grandparents came from Burgenland to Lower Austria, and they have to decide between two different farms. One was a bigger one outside of the city, outside of the villages, and the other one was a smaller one inside the village. And it's been told that they decided for the village one because of the church, or others say because of the two pubs we have there. So I don't know. I think the pubs. So this is actually the third. This is almost the time in 1920 when my family come to this area, and you see on the backside our farm. This is another one from 1955, the same farm on the same place. And this is today, so still in the middle of the village. We are very centered. We have to deal with our neighbors, and we have to deal with all these pros and cons living or being placed in very central. Yeah, so that's the farm history and the history of my great parents, let's say. Now the history of us. If I say us, it means my wife Julia. Together we took over the farm in 2016, and together with our children, Emily in the middle, that blonde one next to my wife. So
over there. She's 16 right now, and she's helping us on the farm too if she's at home because of schooling. And of course, Bernhard, he's a very great support already. He's doing jobs for me if I'm not at home because busy otherwise. Yeah, so yes. So I said we are in the middle of the village, and just to give you an impression what this means, I have a short video, a flyover. You can see it in bird's view, and it's important for some following things I will explain to you. Oh, sorry, my fault. Before that, I will tell you something about our farm in numbers. So we own 40 hectare certified organic agriculture. So most of it is actually is field forage. It's alfalfa and clover grass. We make silage of it. The other one is pasture for our cows and the heifers and the oxes and yeah, and hay meadows. And some views. Then we have some cash crops, and we produce silage out of a maize sunflower Sudan grass mix. It helps us to keep the pressure from the unwanted seeds, so the Unkraut, because the sunflowers make a very broad in very short time, and they keep the pressure low. So this is the silage we produce, then some forest and energy crops. So yes, we're milking 30 Fleckvieh cows. It's the Austrian Simmental breed. We have, let's say, about 15 heifers around and 5 to 10 oxen. It depends on how long we keep them and how we need them for our own, to sell them on our own. And from 7 to 13 newborn calves. As it, Bernhard will tell you something more about that later, and some chicken. This is more or less a cooperation with our neighbors. They feed, and we have the land, and yeah. So, but it's very nice, and we, like I said, and you will see it here later. It's, in our opinion, it's very important that we have a good communication with our neighbors, and it's working very good. So this is the village actually, and on the over here is our farm, and this is the flyover. So this is from the center with the church, and we are going straight to this is our farm here. You can see it now, and this is the main streets here. And I'm not sure if I can pause it. No, okay, doesn't matter. So this is the main streets, and because this is on a corner, and yeah. So the drone pilot is not very, yeah. This is the first flight. Okay, so just that you can see the situation, and on this corner in Austria we say if something is very close and you can reach it very easy, we say it's gleich ums Eck, so it's right around the corner, and we have the corner, and our family name is Kurz. It means short, so it's Kurz ums Eck means short around the corner actually, and this is our trademark actually, where we produce, and yeah, we produce handmade products. Let's say more than half of the milk we produce is for our own products, like raw milk, like cheese, soft cheese, and fresh cheese, and milk, sour milk, and yes, yogurt, so on. So this is our brand actually, and we also my wife made a logo for this CCC system, because when we started 2016, it was not, also in Austria, not that big, let's say, It was a movement there, but not very intense. So it's this is our logo for the CCC system we have on every glass we sell, and yeah. So what I forgot before actually is that we had day jobs before we started with farming. My wife actually was a graphics designer, so this is, yeah, it helped. Yes. So and then where do we sell our product? Like I said, half of the products is selling by ourselves. So we have a 24/7 self-service farm shop. You have seen it when you fly on the overflight. That's right on the corner. This is our farm shop. Then we have a few village shops and grocery stores, small grocery stores and food corporations. And one bigger is the online grocery called Kurz in Austria. So this is the main thing. But we also have, beside the product selling, we have an open barn, let's say. So all the people can come to us because they're our neighbors actually, and they come with the kids. They come with their friends if they show them our village. So it's a very, very frequent visiting on our farm. And lately we just finished our event venue. It's on top of the milk processing rooms. Yeah, we can handle up to 80 people there. So we make, yeah, everything like cow-calf presentations and stuff like that. So, and also, yeah, here we make farm tours and tastings. So people can come with groups up to 50 persons. We split it in half, and one part is doing the production, and the other the cows and the barn visitation, let's say. Also, we are Schule am Bauernhof. It's a famous Austrian, let's say, brand. It's a farm school visits. So children from first degree up to 18 years, let's say. So when they are studying, they come to us and we make a farm tour. We also show them all the parts of our farm, like the production and the CCC and how our barn is working. Yeah. So the last thing I want to say on this stage now is we have a composting barn. I will come to this back later after Bernhard is explaining to you the cow contact we implemented in our farm. So hand over to Bernhard.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a quick overview on how a calf starts the life at our farm and how it continues, which paths to take. We divide the CCC on the Kurz farm into 4 main phases. Sorry. Yeah. Into 4 main phases. The dry period, calving the first 3 months on our farm and their ongoing life. Before I continue, I want to show you something, a video. In this video, you can feel a little the relaxed atmosphere, which is all the time in our barn when the calves are with the cows. I wanted to share this with you because I really enjoy it, just sitting there watching them. Yeah. Moving on, we start with the dry period from the point on where the vet gives thumbs up to the pregnancy diagnosis. The cow will then be milked until about 1.5 months before the calving date. Yeah. Depending on the cow's productivity, if it produces much or less. Yeah. Almost all calving is starts and ends without any of our help. So it's just like on the one day we go sleeping, on the next day there's a calf. Yes, just there. Yeah. Once the calf is born, we bring the cow and the calf together into the milking parlor for several reasons. These are that we can check that the calf is drinking the milk. Most of the time they are. Sometimes it's a little bit of a hassle to bring them near and please drink, just do something. Yes. And also to look if it's fit and healthy and can walk, and yeah, just reassurance. When the calf is near the cow, it also calms the cow, so she lets her milk down more easily, so it doesn't hurt. Yes. At the moment we have 5 heifers, 5 fresh cow mothers, giving birth, and this makes the milking sometimes a little bit complicating because they don't know the barn at all and the parlor, and it's very
Actually, right now, Julia is challenging with 5 calves and with 5 heifers, and we are pretty cool here. So.
Yeah, just. Depending on the weather, we provide the newborn calves with a calf jacket, as you see slightly here. But since the cows keep them warm themselves, most of the time it's usually not necessary. The calves stay at our farm for the following 3 months after the birth. So many different age groups, as we can see here, a little one, a little bit older, and one which is nearly on the time of going. And so the younger ones learn from the older ones how it is going on our farm, but the bread, as soon as we get the cows to the waiting area for milking, all the huge space in the barn is left for the calves alone, and and it is very fun to watch, as I said before. Sometimes we even go in and just jump around with them, or at our all-time high we had 13 calves simultaneously, and this was really great entertainment because there was always some sort of fun going on, something happening. Very soon the calves start imitating their mothers, eating grass and silage, and start to drink water. At the age of 3 months, the calf will be brought to my grandparents. This usually brings mooing and whining on both sides, on the calf and the cow. To relax this situation, we try different methods for smooth weaning. We tried the quiet weaning nose flap, but as you can see, they get very creative. Hasn't really helped anything. Yes. We have the best success when we separate the calves short time before final weaning into the cage for increasing periods. This is the cage. It's right now not the one we wanted before, we planned before, but.
So actually there should be a separate small housing for the separation of the calves, but this was leftovers, let's say. So we had this cage, and they use it very intensely. So they have drinking and something to eat there, and yeah, it's also good if we can close it, we can separate them, and later on they are known to it, and we can put it with a telescopic handler and move it to another place very easily. So it's easy, and yeah, right now it's okay. Okay.
Yeah. After 3 months, the calves will be taken to my grandparents, and my grandfather is very handy with calves and cows, and he always pets them. Yes. So most of the calves which come to him will stay very calm and trusting and tame. all when you see them, they're now very big, and you can still pet them, and you can still go in without having to fear anything. Yeah. Here we have a little transition from a little calf to a very big bull, and you can still go in and yeah, just that. Thank you.
Over there too. Yeah, so we made a change. Thank you for the handover, my friend. So what was our path to? I'm not sure about the time actually. So if it's close, if it's too long time, doesn't matter. So our path to calf contact was started when we take over the farm. We both were busy with our day jobs actually, so feeding the calves and watching the calves if they are drinking, if the milk is 10 hours cold and whatever, made big problems to us. We had diarrhea and calf losses, and it was a huge problem and something you don't want to see actually. If you have children, you don't want to see suffering children from others, even if it's cows. So we decided, so it was a lucky thing that we met other CCC people, let's say. They showed us their system. They said it's very easy to handle actually, and so we decided the day we came back from this meeting, we opened the door and let the calves to their mothers, and it's from this time on all our stages, and you will see some of the different stages until our new barn. We never switched it, so we keep the system because never change the running system. and you see here this cubic barn we get handed over from my parents. It was great. It was built in 1987. It was actually a very modern barn in 1987. 30 years later, it was not that modern anymore, but that's a different thing. So also the change to organic farming with bigger, with the requirement of more space for the cows. There was no real deal with that actually. But we had, like you see, we had the calves with the cows also in this barn, and we have the separation for them on another place, but they always had to were able to go to their mothers. You see, this was another problem. We had 16 cubicle places for the cows, and the calves. Sometimes you have one calf per cubic, let's say, or per bin, and the cows have no place to lay down actually. So it was not perfect, but it was very enjoyable. And here you can see also some separation places. We tried different things, and this is the old milking powder. It's my father made it himself, so it looks not very professional, but it worked. 30 years. Yeah. So, and then we were planning our new barn actually, and this is not 3 years every day planning, but all of the time we faced another thing on the existing barn, which you stay. It's okay. So it's an ongoing process, but it was 9 months of chaos because we made a provisorium, let's say. So all our cows we brought to a temporary barn, and I made this milking powder. Let's say if you're used to it, that you milk like that and not like that. So we just lift the cows with a hydraulic system and for milking. This what you see here is the provisorium actually, but also there we kept all our things like stable schooling and also the cows, the CCC system. So we never stopped it, even if sometimes the cows are anywhere. So we had our neighbors to pick them up and bring them back. And here you see we really replaced the old barn. So it's not that we built a new one and then moved. So we really removed everything, built a new barn, and built a new milking process place. Yeah, and this is, I'm coming to an end. This is the first the first day when we bring in the wood cut, so the first thing for the cows. So this is the first day with the first milking, and yes, very challenging. We designed the new barn for cows with horn, so there are special requirements like more space and a special fence or a special I think so, and also the milking parlor we tried to make so that we can handle more calves to drink at their mothers when giving, so when they are born, fresh born. Actually, it's just two on with a six side by side milking parlor, and we have two on one side. Let's say we can handle this, but it's actually we should have more. But we know it now. So yeah, this is our logo, and I think we're done. Thank you for your attention.
One question.
Sorry for the.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Next speaker from Greece, sharing his farmer story, Georgios Kiampas. You have the floor.
Just use this and then talk nicely here.
Hello, I'm Georgios. I represent the Philippidis Dairy Family Farm. We're in Greece, North Greece, in Gazoros. We have two farms, one with parlor, the big one, the first one, that milks 300 milking cows, around 11 tons per day, 200 beef cattle, and a smaller separate farm, the second one, the down. This has a milking, robotic milking system, the robot, and there is the CC system where it's still here, still there. It's in the robotic farm. And, here is the place that we saw, the robotic farm. We started the first CC system in Greece with 2 cows and 2, of course, calves. The first one is the female, the Holstein, and the second, her name was the first calf, so we named them. It's Eleni, and the male is Thanasis. Thanasis was born in the middle of January, and unfortunately his mother died in birth. So for us it was a living lab, so we keep them together with one cow for Eleni, and we start watching what will happen. So let's see what happened. For us, the CC system, it's not only cow and calf contact, it's a multi-factor system. So it's not enough only to have cows and calves together, but they must be in appropriate place. So they have open place, dry place, sun. Okay, we are in Greece, it's easy. And what we understand after 20 months almost is that it's not enough, because it's very crucial drinking milk from their mother or from another mother. And this is the result from Thanasis, the male, that he didn't drink from his mother at all, but he drank for almost 2 months with the same milk that Eleni drank suckling her mother. So the results, okay, that's why I said the animal welfare is very important for us. It's not only the system, it's general welfare. We started on July. The main goals with natural behaviors and the benefits of CC system with Greek farming context, with the help of Elgo Dimitra, the NIP Sosido manager. Here it was winter, as I said. The calves were calving in January, -5. Here is the, as I told, the Eleni and Thanasis. Now that we can read it, it's easier. First time, very difficult. Whatever everybody said here, it's true. It's in the beginning, it's very, very hard if you don't know it. If the calf and the cow is okay, yes, I can say that after 3 days, you can leave them. It's okay. But to have this open space that I mentioned before. So for the first couple, the Holstein, it was okay. The other couple, as I said, it was a problematic calving. So let's see what is the result. Okay, I said this. Thanasis. Well, yes, they say Eleni. Okay, Eleni that was drinking milk from her mother, because her mother had around 50 liters per day in a few days after calving. So this system with high yielding cows, there is problem because it's very sensitive, the udder, so the calf grows very, very quick. Also her teeth, and that and scrubs the nipple, and also because of the instinct makes a little damage to her mother. So it's okay system, but it's needed to be monitored. So this free CC system was only for 21 days. After I moved her mother because they had udder injury because of the cycling. The results for the weaning, as the other farmers and other people said, is huge. It's not only good, it's huge. We never had such numbers with the other calves that we have with the system, the conventional. And not only this, it was problem-free calves. So, Thanasis, when I first weighed them, it was some days after calving because it was too small to weigh them and too cold also. So in 3 days almost, he was 57 kilograms with milk from Eleni's mother. It's 269 the cow, so it was the same milk. The calves earn around 2 kilos of weight every day. And finally, around 70 days old, Thanasis, which is crossbreed, as I told you, it was also Blue Belgian and Holstein, reached about 122 kilograms, and Eleni, the female, it was almost the same, 120 kilos. So this is for us very important and very strange. Yeah. So we'll see what will happen after. After the separation of Eleni from her mother, both calves received approximately 10 liters of milk per day in 2 feedings. From around 1 month of age, calves were introduced gradually to starter feed, cereals, pellet, hay, alfalfa. At this stage, milk intake increased to 12 liters per day. By 47 and 50 days of age, milk supply was reduced to 1 feeding per day, gradually the weaning, in 5 liters per day. Starter feed consumption increased steadily. The following weeks, milk allowance was gradually reduced further to 4 to 5 liters, which calves relied on starter feed and forage intake. In the final weaning phase, 15 days before moving to peer groups, milk was reduced from 5 liters per day to 3 liters per day during the last 2 days before complete weaning, 75 to 78 days of age. Because of the robot, it was easy for me to check how much milk Eleni was sucking from her mother. So it was after I separated them, Eleni had 40 liters with her calf, and after was 50 liters. So Eleni drank whenever she wanted, 24 hours per day, around 10 to 12 liters per day. So that's why I keep feeding them after with the bottle the same quantity. Today is this how they look. The Eleni is with the red here, and the Thanas is with the blue here. Okay, maybe you cannot see something very, as I saw the grow rate, but here is with calves that is almost 2 months bigger than them. Just to know, 1 to 2 months bigger than them, and you can see that it's the same. Now, for the future, CCC is feasible, but very complex. Requires system adaptation, valuable growth and behavior insights gained. Next steps is to expand to more cows. I want to see also heifers, how they will react. The next phase, I think, is with heifers. Optimize system design and separation time. Long-term goal, integrate CCC system into full robotic unit, but we will see. Why we will see? Because the CCC system for 2 years that is ongoing, it's very small period, because to see the actual results of the calf, this female calf must calf again to see how it's like a cow. So the goal for a farmer, it's the winning is the process. It's not the goal. The winning is just to become a good cow. So this program must be other 2 years to see how these calves are going, like or cows or okay, Thanasis. In 1 year we'll slaughter him. We will see how it will be. But for the female, we need 2 years more. Thank you for your attention.
One short question. We got a question online from Chloe. How often and how much was Francis fed with milk during his first 18 days? Was it more than for conventional calves?
How much?
How much milk? Yeah.
No, the same. 10 to 12. 2 times per day.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry, but I have to express my feelings now. So I do like to express my gratitude to the farmers.
Thank you.
At the time where we introduced the CCC system to our dairy network, dairy farmers network, we had it from previous projects. Everybody was not aware of it. They were laughing about that. Oh, milk losses. No, we cannot do this anymore. This was the situation. And then after a final conference, after the first taking and the final conference of another national project we had, people contacted me saying that we are very proud of our farm. We have high welfare standards, see, please visit us and see how we can collaborate with you. And I visited them, and then this collaboration started, and the only people started to think about this very seriously, and they implemented the system for the first time. So now I need them to be encouraged by our network here, by all of us, to continue on, put more cows.
Heifers, two heifers.
Thank you very much for it's very valuable at national level, at least it is of huge importance, your innovative and open mind approach. So thank you very much.
May I ask Charles, you will speak today or not? Okay, I want to ask Charles because I think he's the most experienced farmer. Have you seen such differences to a calf that it was raised like this when she became a cow? Have you seen a different?
Yeah, there's huge benefits, and I think that's the thing that farmers have got to get in their head mindset when they're looking at cow-calf systems. Is yes, you're losing milk, but you are gaining. You're just investing it somewhere else. And now we've been looking at this more closely over the last 5 or 6 years and identifying the right cow that fits the model of how we farm. Every time a heifer comes through, we see that expression of behavior is better, the release of milk in the parlor is improved. Looking at her temperament has been the key to that. And year on year, we see it becomes easier and easier for us. So you've just got to stick with it. And you're making great progress, and congratulations on what you've done so far.
Our last two presentation are given by Jakob from Austria and Larry from France.
Yeah, hello. My name is Jakob Gardemeyer. I'm working for the Austrian Organic Farmers Association, Bio Austria. And yeah, let me tell you about our NIP. We have approximately 20 members, plus minus. They're mostly current CCC farmers, but there's always some interested ones that are joining our meetings, and a few scientists. It's mostly smaller farmers with 10 to 30 cows, but we also have one farm with 80 cows. That's the biggest one. We had a lot of meetings, some online, but the best ones were the networking meetings on the farms. We visited in total 5 farms of NIP members and had very good exchange there. And our next planned meetings are a webinar in autumn, probably about selling and marketing. And we want to visit the farm where our living lab experiment is at the moment. Very quick about the living lab with the title that we chose. It's about calf weight monitoring in calf contact systems. Why did we choose that? We had the following knowledge gap that it's with the limited ability to monitor milk intake in cow-calf contact systems. It's not that easy compared to bucket feeding and conventional systems. So in CCC systems, calf growth is often assessed only through subjective observations by the farmers. So we thought we have a need for objective and continuous weight monitoring data. And so we thought we should test that with automatic calf scales as an innovative farm tool. So as you can see in the pictures, yeah, that's what we've tried. There is an automatic calf scale, and it's to say a little bit about how it's going. We had some technical issues. It should work, but we don't have the the best. Yeah, it's hard to say. We're still working on it, that it's working how it should. If you want to dive more into this topic, you can take part on the World Cafe later. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, perfectly. Thank you, Chloe.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks. So I'm Chloé Legal-Ladevez. I work for Phylum, a consulting company in
Chloe, I'm just going to
animal
ask you
health.
to stop for a
Yes.
second because it's a little bit
Okay.
muffled. We'll just get you out of the other speaker. Can you try now, Chloe?
Do you hear me well?
Hang on, we try the next one. Still can't pronounce the speaker. Okay, try
Is it
again.
better? Yeah. Do you hear me?
I think it's a bit better. Yeah, we'll give that a go. I'll put the
Right.
slides on now. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Chloé Legal-Ladevez. I work for Phylum, a consulting company in France for animal health and welfare. Regarding our NIP, it's a large NIP with more than 100 members. Indeed, CCC practice is quite widespread in France, and there are various types of systems, mostly organic farming. But it's individual initiatives or disseminated at very local scale. So there is not a large-scale structure of CCC farming. But we have plenty of people interested in this topic. So this is a large NIP. For the moment, we had online meetings because it depends on the availability of participants on the target periods. It was easier for them to attend online. And also it extends the accessibility of the NIP meetings with the live participation, also replays. And we combine the online meetings with presentations or webinars to really increase the participation of people and increase their interest to come. We plan to have farm visits for the next 2 meetings. So it will make a difference, I hope. We had the 2 webinars we organized in November and February. The first one was about general raising calves with dams or nurses. And then the second one was more specific. We talked about the impacts of CCC on various aspects of the farms, technical, economic, social. So that's it. And the Living Lab in France, it's about disseminating technical materials to really guide the decisions in CCC implementation. Because we saw with the NIP members and in general in CCC farms or interested farms, we have a lack of practical information on the real diversity of solutions for CCC implementation. And also people mentioned the lack of accessible science-based data that are specific to CCC practices, meaning science-based data that are in the French language and also simplified to have real decision guides. So for these reasons, we developed with some NIP members a practical guide that is structured into 10 thematic fact sheets, and together with external materials such as guides, articles, videos, websites. So this guide is now developed, and we have disseminated it to our NIP members that are farmers, advisors, veterinarians, and also farm network animators. And we hope to improve this first version of the guide to have a larger scale dissemination to also to TDN members.